Breaking news right here on CBS News 24/7. Moments ago, Senate lawmakers voted to end the government shutdown. I'm Elizabeth Cook, and we are live right here on CBS News 24/7. The funding impasse has dragged on for 41 days now, the longest shutdown in American history. Just moments ago, the Senate secured enough votes to approve a bill to fund the federal government.
The bill, as amended, is passed. Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is considered made and laid upon the table.
Let's bring in CBS News political reporter Hunter Woodall, who joins us live over the phone. Hunter, thank you for being with us. 8 Democrats sided with Republicans on this vote, all of which are either planning to retire or are not up for re-election next year. What have these senators said about their decision? They're getting a lot of criticism from their own party.
That's the notable thing here as we've watched how Democrats responded in the last 24 hours. Obviously, a lot of pushback from Democrats amongst the party base and some rank-and-file Democrats, especially in the U.S. House, criticizing this group of Senate Democrats for moving forward and helping Republicans try and reopen the government. But honestly, when you look at their statements, you look at what they've said to reporters and to the public since their votes last night that essentially started this process of overcoming the hurdles to try and reopen the government, it's clear that the impact that the shutdown was having on their communities, on their respective states, was being deeply felt. And they essentially felt like the compromise they were able to get was the best they're going to get, especially as the shutdown continued to stretch on and on.
Now, part of the compromise, Hunter, Republicans agreed to hold a vote by mid-December to extend the health care tax credits. Now, these were central to the Democrats' demands. What can you tell us about that decision?
That's the most contentious part here, because when you look at how the base of the Democratic Party, how House members and some senators are responding to this compromise, the idea that the most that Democrats were able to get out of any compromise was that there will be a vote next month. That's not sitting very well with a lot of Democrats, because obviously they have made affordability central to their argument for change in Washington. They have made, health care essential to their argument for what they want to see people be able to have in this country. This is not going to be enough for some Democrats, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they respond to this moving forward, because there's no guarantee now that these issues and concerns about the Affordable Care Act tax credits will actually be resolved, even if they get the December vote. Because let's say even passes the Senate, you still have the GOP-held House, and you still have President Donald Trump, and it's unclear how they would act on this.
Hunter, is this vote seen as a win for either party, considering the immense pain it's caused so many Americans?
Well, I think especially being on Capitol Hill earlier today, getting a sense of where things stood, I think obviously nobody feels great about how this has gone, the tensions that have obviously been shown here, and just the extreme partisanship that has been a hallmark of this shutdown. When you talk about, how shutdowns impact, every state, has constituents that have been impacted by what's going on. It's being felt, and especially as you get closer and closer to the holidays, the idea that travel could be impacted for folks moving across the country, going across the country to visit loved ones. I think it was a contentious time, and there's clear thought that hopefully now this shutdown will be put behind them. But I will note this government funding bill is, in many ways, is a short-term patch. It essentially, the funding goes through January 30th of 2026. There's nothing to say by that time we could still, fall into another government shutdown after that. There's a short-term patch, and that's going to be one of the things that we're watching moving forward.
Congressman Ro Khanna was on the takeout earlier today, Hunter, and he was asked about Senator Chuck Schumer's future. I want to listen to that soundbite there and get your reaction on the other side.
It's time for him to be replaced. He is not meeting the moment. He's out of touch with where the party's base is.
Hunter, what are you hearing from Democrats about Chuck Schumer's future with the party?
This is the fascinating thing about what we've seen. Obviously, Chuck Schumer is a Senate Democratic leader. He has had a topsy-turvy tenure so far since he essentially started leading the chamber after Harry Reid retired a few years back. And when you look at the contention here, obviously, I don't think Senator Schumer is going to be losing much sleep about a California House Democrat, Ro Khanna, saying, hey, he should step aside. But it does tell you where the Democratic Party may be headed. Because, again, this was a compromise. This was a compromise that Chuck Schumer didn't even vote for. But the idea that this is happening under Chuck Schumer's watch is enough to alarm Democrats, not just the Democratic base, which may have been unwilling to accept any kind of compromise, but also Democratic rank-and-file members like Congressman Khanna, like other members of Congress, were already seen being very critical on the U.S. House side of what the Senate and those breakaway Senate Dems have done. Does give you a sign that for a party that is kind of torn between progressives and the moderates right now, this is a tension that is not going away, and it might even get more vocal in the coming months and years.
And I'm curious, the next step with this now heads to the House floor. Hunter, what do you think is going to happen there? What kind of debate are we going to see?
We obviously had a signal earlier today from House Speaker Mike Johnson. He was encouraging about this plan, encouraging about, hey, he's going to bring back the House after a long time of the House being away to vote on this plan. Now, I will note, House Republicans tend to not be very happy with short-term funding measures. They may feel a little bit better about this because there are some full-year appropriations bills, some full-year bills in this package, and that may help some concerns amongst rank-and-file Republicans. But seeing how Democrats are reacting so far, is it going to be a bipartisan bill? Is it going to be a bipartisan vote in the House, or is it going to be strictly partisan? If that's the case, it's a very narrow House GOP majority. Speaker Mike Johnson would likely have to keep his House Republicans together to pass that. Or is he going to get help from Democrats to get this across the finish line? The signals we were getting earlier today, obviously, is that President Trump is supportive of this, supportive of the work that the Senate's done here. So really, the question now is how the House fares for this when it comes back later this week.
Hunter Woodall, thank you so much. Well, if you're just joining us, breaking news, the Senate has officially passed a bill to end the government shutdown, the longest in American history. Just moments ago, Senate lawmakers voted 60-40 to approve a measure to fund the federal government. The bill still needs to be approved by the House and eventually signed by President Trump.